So, you've decided to move to Amsterdam. Boy oh boy, are you in for an absolute treat. Fun fact, but Matt and I had never actually been to the Netherlands before immigrating here. We just watched a couple of YouTube videos and hoped for the best. But one of the biggest questions that we found ourselves asking when we first moved here is, but where will we live? With the challenge of finding a home in Amsterdam, you're going to have to keep an open mind because Amsterdam is a small city and beggars can't be choosers. Now, I'm most certainly not saying that the Pijp is the only neighborhood for you to consider in Amsterdam, but what I am saying is if you're anything like me and the Pijp is where you land up living, then you're going to absolutely love it here. The Pijp is one of the most vibrant neighborhoods in Amsterdam, but the thing with the Pijp is that it's not vibrant in a touristy way, it's vibrant in a locals way. And of course you're going to find tourists here because there's lots of cool things to do, but it just doesn't have the same feel as the center ring of Amsterdam. So sit back and relax and let me tell you about all of the coolest things about the Pijp. The Pijp.
Number 1, the central location and public transport accessibility. The M52 line runs centrally through Amsterdam, all the way from Noord to Zuid, stopping at many main neighbourhoods you'd want access to. De Pijp is nestled pretty much in the middle of this line. You can be in the city in 10 minutes and get to the airport in under half an hour. Centraal and Zuid stations have a lot of intercity transport, and getting to either of these stations is extremely simple and fast. There are also trams and buses, so this neighbourhood's transport connections are amazing. Number 2, it's a foodie paradise. I did some filming in the morning to stay out of people's way, which is why places look quiet or closed, but trust me, they are packed in the evenings. Even in the short 3 years of living here, we have noticed how more and more amazing international cuisine restaurants have popped up. Ferdinand Bolstraat suddenly has so much Asian cuisine to offer, from ramen to Korean fried chicken to Chinese. But it's also the perfect location to find authentic Dutch street food.
Careful not to burn your face off.
There are the most amazing brunch and coffee spots here too. Number 3, Albert Cape Market. While we're on the topic of food, De Pijp has one of the largest open-air markets in the Netherlands. Albert Cape Market started in 1905. Can you believe it? I know it's a market, but don't anticipate cheaper prices here. You can find a variety of food stalls and a variety of cuisines. Rudy stroopwafels are an OG destination for fresh, authentic stroopwafels. Twins Olives have some of the best hummus and borrel snacks in town. From flowers to fish, cheese to art, Albert Cape Straat is wonderful to stroll down every time. Number 4, the Old Dutch House vibe and architecture. The buildings in De Pijp are quirky, unique, and typically Dutch, which I love. Of course, this is a pro and a con because with older buildings comes worse energy ratings and risks of mice, but it makes a gorgeous neighborhood that's a pleasure to just walk around and take in. The city also makes a lot of effort to look after the streets, and although it feels like construction is never ending, it means that things are maintained and modernized with the future of Amsterdam in mind. Number 5, parks and green spaces. De Pijp itself has Safati Park, which is a small but beautiful park in the center of the neighborhood. We love watching all the dogs play together, as well as the ducks, the geese, and occasionally even a terrapin. I guess this topic broaches into the location topic again because Safati Park is technically the only park in De Pijp, but De Pijp is so central to so many other parks such as Vondel Park, Ooster Park, and Beatrix Park. On the map it might look far away, but just for perspective, from our house it was only 850 meters to get to Vondel Park. Number 6, it's great for families. Matt and I have marveled at the playgrounds in the neighborhood, and we've noticed how parents seem to be comfortable enough to allow the kids out by themselves. Salfati Park has some jungle gyms that we could have only dreamed of as kids in South Africa. There's basically a whole acro branch with a foofie slide in there, along with there being many other varieties of neighborhood playgrounds and sports grounds. Let me show you a couple more.
Number 7, the shopping. There are lots of places for you to go shopping in the Pijp, and
I particularly love strolling down this street.
it's called Gerard Doorstraat. The reason why I love it so much is because you're not going to find stores like Zara, H&M, those like high street brands over here. It's very curated stores. I mean, it's a corgi mug. That's so cute. This place also has literally the most unique and delicate candlesticks I've ever seen in my life before.
Number 8. I don't know if this is something to hide or call out, but the red light district. Don't be caught off guard the way that I was. Casually strolling down the street on a Sunday at 2 p.m. and suddenly I see all of these half-naked women in the windows. I had not visited De Wallen before, but I knew this was not where De Wallen was located, so I was extremely confused. But yes, it's true, we have a small red light district in De Pijp. Number 9. The Canals and the Amstel.
The Pijp does not actually have any canals running through it, but the whole neighborhood is pretty much surrounded by canals, as well as the Amstel. And it's super nice because they recently put all of these little benches in along the canal, so you can come sit here with a borrel with your friends, grab some dinner, watch all of the boats go past, and it's really pretty, especially on a day like this.
Number 10. Museum access.
I guess that this only counts if you're in the northwestern side of the Pijp, which is where we were staying. You're a couple of steps away from this area, which is called Museum Plain. So on this side, you can see the Rijksmuseum, which I know that it looks a little bit at the moment because they are finally fixing the pond, which had a leak for a really, really long time. But the cool thing about them fixing that pond is that soon it's going to be an ice rink with Christmas lights and glühwein and everything, so it's going to be amazing. Down over there is the Moko Museum, which is the Modern Contemporary Art Museum, and then this is Van Gogh, and then if you look all the way down there, that is the Concertgebouw. Fun fact, our upstairs neighbor actually plays the flute in that orchestra.
We love people watching here, especially when it's basketball season. The smack talk that goes down there is true entertainment.
And for New Year's Eve, they put on a whole light fireworks show, and even though it was pouring with rain at the previous one we came to, we still just had the best night.
De Pijp is also home to the Heineken experience, which, as you can see from this queue, is very popular. Number 11. Nightlife. There are so many bars in De Pijp. Marie Heineken Plain has plenty of options that then branch out towards Albert Cape Market, where you'll find smaller squares of places to choose from. We recently found an English pub quiz that happens weekly at a bar called Troost, and there is a fun improv comedy evening held at Vice Versa occasionally. Paradiso is a converted church that hosts a variety of musicians and parties, and again, it might not be in De Pijp, but it's right by Museum Plain, so it's insanely close by. What else I love about the nightlife is that even if you're not wanting a big night out, just walking around these parts of the city can be really energizing. Of course, I have to also mention that you're bound to stumble upon a coffee shop or two. It's Amsterdam, it's inevitable. Number 12. There are loads of grocery stores. Everywhere is so easily accessible, and there are a variety of grocery stores. I'm talking Lidl, Jumbo, Albert Heijn, some smaller specialty options, and my personal fave, Dirk, a grocery store for every budget. Last but not least, number 13, fitness. There is a gym for every budget and person. There is a Basic Fit, Train More, Row Cycle, and a Saints and Stars, along with plenty of other fitness spots to try out. We used to have a boxing gym across from us in our house, which has since become a ballet studio, and the world is always your oyster if you're a runner.
Just like every country you choose to live in is going to have its pros and cons, so does every neighborhood. And I couldn't do a video all about the Pijp without discussing some of the things that have bothered me. Now, I'm not saying these things have totally ruined my entire experience of the Pijp, but it's just things that I've found a bit challenging sometimes. So the first one is the noise. We were blessed with a very rowdy upstairs neighbor who used to host parties between like 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not joking. She would sometimes have people still arriving at 6:30 in the morning. So we had a really rough time with that. But also you're amongst like bars and there's trams and stuff. So it is just in general a noisier area. Like with great transport comes transport noise. With great restaurants and bars comes people. So of course there's going to be noise, and I totally understand that. It's just that sometimes it does push to an extreme, and that's when I start to struggle. Anyway, our courtyard was definitely entertaining sometimes. At one stage, we had this British couple who seemed to be like practicing some sort of song and stuff, but they were basically just practicing to be pirates. And it was great. I loved that.
My God, he was a brother. He wasn't fit to go sheep from one place to another. Singing in the rigging, touching off the cutting, wiping down the planking. There was fuck all else to do. That's it. We went to get on the water, I don't sit there. Oh,
Then we've had people start renovating at 11 p.m. at night, like hammering, drilling, and in the courtyard of our home, the sound just literally carries. We've also heard our neighbours having sex many, many times. And then we went through a phase where it was literally like clockwork in the summer when we were sleeping with our doors wide open, that this guy living across from us, his curtains were always drawn during the day and open at night, and he constantly had this disco light going. Every morning at 5 a.m. he was up, windows wide open, playing the same TV show. The level of noise will obviously depend on where you stay in the neighborhood. Of course, there are some quieter roads in the Pijp, and I definitely recommend trying to stay away from main roads with tram lines and things like that if you are sensitive to noise.
The second thing that really used to bother me is the trash. I think that this was for some reason particularly bad on the street that we used to live on, but the trash gets really out of hand sometimes, and even though it's collected and cleaned up daily, I think a lesson here is that you're going to find that people are pretty much gross everywhere in the world. The birds on Albert Cape Straat are forever grateful for the fish market leftovers though. The third thing that is not so lacquer about the Pijp is the expense. Living in the Pijp is expensive. Our 2-bedroom apartment, which you can check out in this video I made here, will be listed for 2,800 euros when we move out, and it's unfurnished. The place down here in the courtyard is 110 square meters and was listed at 950,000 euros for sale, and it most likely went for more. Because it is such an in-demand neighborhood, the prices just tend to be high here.
As you can see, the good absolutely outweighs the bad. Unless if you're going on to your 5th night of disrupted sleep because of the parties going on, then you start to go a little bit crazy. I'm definitely going to miss this place that we got to call home for 3 years, but I know that we'll absolutely be back here frequently to enjoy all of the things that I just mentioned. Did I miss anything about the Pijp that you think needs to be added to this list? Please drop it in the comments below. Give me a couple of months and I'm pretty sure that I'll be showing you all there is to see about our new neighborhood. But for now, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a little thumbs up and please subscribe.